This is my very first video review of any product. I like this product a lot and I thought there was a lot of misinformation out. My goal is to have this video for you, anyone who's considering buying this, as a one-stop shop for all the questions you might have. So let's get started. So what I'll do here is I'll go one ingredient at a time, or vegetable at a time, so to kind of show you, how much juice it generates and how much pulp it generates and what the pulp looks like, dry, wet, whatever that is. So this is one cucumber. So what I'll show you is how much juice it generates. So I just finished juicing my cucumber. The pulp is not super dry, but what I'm seeing is this juicer is mostly made for green leafy vegetables and the pulp there is most dry. So when you can juice a bunch of other things, but with cucumber I see that the pulp is alright. Sometimes I actually run it again, and with one cucumber it's about 150 ml of juice here, as you can see. So my second ingredient is kale. So with kale, I got about another 50 ml of juice in there. And as you can see, the pulp is very dry. So as I said before, this juicer is mostly for green leafy vegetables, and I think that's how they market it, but you can juice pretty much anything. The third ingredient is celery. Celery makes a little bit of noise. That squeaking noise. Leafy, very dry pulp. Not a lot of moisture in there, and then that generated another 100 ml. So I'm getting pretty close to getting full. So one thing you have to be careful about, and I saw some reviews that it leaks and spill. There is a tricky thing here. When you pour your juice, as you can see, it kind of has these two. You want to make sure you tilt it, so that way your juice is not coming from both ends. If you just try to go all the way like this from the very beginning, your juice will come out from this end and this end, and I think that's how people end up spilling a lot of their juice and complain about this being leaky. The next ingredient is small apple. I didn't expect this, but apple's pulp is actually really dry. I would say even better than the green leafy vegetables. Next is one grapefruit. As I said, probably it's not a citrus juicer, but it works really well. So far I've used it with oranges, tangerines, grapefruit. So grapefruit actually generated about 200 ml, so almost as much as 3 apples did. As I said, actually the pulp is pretty dry. There's not a lot of pulp left. It juiced pretty much everything. So again, pretty good for citrus fruit. Finally, I'm moving on to some carrots. I got some organic carrots and I want to show you. Carrots are a little bit harder because they are hard, so you have to push a little harder. And they do make noise. Carrots, the pulp is really dry. So, but one thing to keep in mind, carrots just don't, at least the ones I've been getting, just don't have a lot of juice in them. So that many carrots only generated about 100 ml of juice right here. So it doesn't really have a lot of juice in it. This juicer does a perfectly fine job juicing all different kind of veggies and fruit, as you can see. It does take time to make the juice, to cut the veggies and clean the juicer. All that takes about 10-15 minutes. If you had an electric juicer or like a really high-end juicer, I would still think it would take you the same amount of time to cut the veggies, to clean the juicer. Sometimes they can take a lot more. This thing is so easy to clean and assemble that it takes me less than 2 minutes to set it up and clean it up. This feels really sturdy to me. I've used one that was like $20 or something like that. That broke on me like this. You can totally see the difference in the quality. One thing I would say, if you are like really yanking it, like this handle, I can see why some people can break that. But if you're being slow and steady, I would highly doubt you would break. I think there are 3 main cons. One, the design of this collector. So it has 2 different ends. So if you're going to just pour, juice might come out of it. So you have to be just a little careful that you tilt it this way and then juice. Second, the collection is tricky. It's all the way at the bottom. So that can be tricky. So if you don't have your collector in the right place, obviously the juice will drip out. So I mean, I never dripped it because I read about it and I realized that's the case. So as long as you keep that in mind, it's not a big issue. I've never dripped a single drop. Just be careful. Another thing I have to keep in mind, the handle is pretty long. So if you have like something sitting here, like a spoon or something, you would flip it. You know, you would flip it and then that might cause some ruckus, but that's pretty much it. That's it. Those are the cons. All the pros in one place. Super easy to clean, super easy to set up, sturdy material, amazing customer service. I didn't really require much, but they were so proactive about how's it going, need any help, all that stuff. Pretty good. And I think it is superior than the cheap knockoffs, and I don't think it's fair to compare it to $250 Omega or whatever that is, but I personally think this does almost as good of a job. But for me, this works perfect. As a beginner, I didn't want to spend $250. So if you're just getting into juicing, I would say this is